ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भृगो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुदानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी शुद्धानंद भगवान की जय। साध्वी आनंद ज्योति जी की जय। माता पिता की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्रीमद् भगवत गीता chapter number 6 and verse number 40, where Bhagavan answers Arjuna's doubt. What happens to the person who is deluded in the path of knowledge, the one who has fallen from both without being without any support, not destroyed? Krishna, the mighty armed, like a cloudlet torn as under. This was Arjuna's big doubt, that what happens to the person who doesn't reach the goal of Brahma Vidya and does not remain a grahastha, does not remain with the stream. What happens to that person? Bhagavan answers, anyone who performs good action never comes to a bad end. This is what Bhagavan answers. Shri Bhagavan uvaca. पार्थ न एव इह न अमुत्रः विनाशः तस्य विद्यते न हि कल्याणकृत् कश्चित् दुर्गतिं तात गच्छति। दुर्गतिम तात गच्छति मतलब turgatim na gacchati. Bhagavan says, Shri Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, Uvacha says, Partha, O son of Pratha, the Kunti, Tasya, for him or her, Vinasha, destruction, Iha, here, Na iva vidyate, indeed is not, na, nor amruta, amutra means hereafter. Tata, O my son, Tata, O my son Arjuna, he because Kashchit, anyone, Kalyanakrat, who performs good action, Kalyanakrat, who performs good action, Durgatim, a bad end, Nagachati, never reaches. He never reaches the bad end. Shri Bhagavan says, indeed, Partha, Arjuna, there is no destruction for him. There is no destruction for the person, him or her. That's why we say person. Neither here nor hereafter. Hereafter means after the death. Because anyone who performs good action never reaches a bad end. The person discussed here in this verse is that sannyasi, that yogi, who was referred to a previous as Ubhaya Vibrashta, who has fallen from both Karma Marga and Yoga Marga. The one who did not reach the goal of Brahma Vidya and who has left the Marga of Karma for the reasons we have already seen. In fact, the person is not Ubhaya Vibharishta. Because here Krishna says that there is no falling as such. For the sannyasi who has not completed the job properly, destruction is not there. Vinasha na vidyate. There is no vinasha, either here in this world, iha, or in any other world, amutraha. Why? Because this person, although an ayati, has shraddha in Shastra. Having shraddha, here can be no loss for him in his life, and therefore the life of sannyasa is not bad. Investment. He knows what it is all about. Because he has shraddha, there is no question of his being frustrated or sad. He should not feel frustrated or sad at all. He will simply continue to pursue the knowledge pleasantly, happily until he gains it. And if shraddha were not to be there, the person would naturally think that he had made a mistake. The person has shraddha. The one who has shraddha in Shastra never comes to a bad end. Because he has shraddha. If the result is not come in this life, it will definitely come in next life. That is the shraddha. That is the power he already possesses. With shraddha he has. Thinking so, he would always go back. In either case, then the problem of his being sad or what he has undertaken would not be there for the person. Nor will there be a problem later after this death. Amutra, Krishna says, he will come back to a situation that is conducive to the continuation of his pursuit of the knowledge. That will give him moksha. There is no worry. There is no hurry and there is no worry. One should not be in hurry. One should have Shraddha. Shraddha in Shastra. Continuous study of Shastra will definitely bring result. And if one dies, if one leaves this form, the person is going to definitely continue the study from the point where he left. Please understand, from the point where he left, the journey will again begin. From the point where he left in the previous form, the journey will begin from there only. Don't have to start again and again and again. To just simply have Shraddha in Shastra. Shastra will never delude you. Thus Krishna assures Arjuna that destruction is definitely not there for him. Vinasha tasya na vidyate. Nothing wrong is going to happen to the person who has fallen into the line of acquiring self-knowledge, Brahma Jnana. The person who is following Shastra for Brahma Gyan and has a Shraddha in Shastra will never vinasya tasya na vidyate. Destruction is definitely not there for him. Destruction here can only mean that the person comes back to a life that is worse than before. This can be the question, meaning that he gains a lower birth than the one he previously had. But this will not happen, Krishna says. There will be a higher birth, a better birth, because the person has lived a good life. He is a kalyan krit. Kalyan means moksha, and the person has taken a step forward towards moksha. By living the life of sannyasa, the kalyanakari, kalyanakrit is not a dropout or a hippie for the sake of moksha, which implies an understanding of Ishvara. The person has given up everything, and being a kalyanakrit, the person does not come to a bad end. Durgatim nagachati. The person who has taken Shastra seriously, the person who has taken Shastra seriously and has 100% faith on Shastra and is seriously studying. The word serious is to be understood. The one who is not, this person is not a dropout. If he leaves this form, he is not a dropout. He is not a failure. And he is not doing Shastra to enjoy. The person who is studying Shastra for enjoyment or for any other kind of vasana, even earning money, because for a jnani, money is not required anymore. The one who is studying Shastra, dhan is not the criteria, nor the power is the criteria, nor enjoyment is the criteria. For the one who is in the process of attaining knowledge, the only criteria is moksha. The person who is thriving, who is studying only to attain the knowledge for moksha, is a kalyanakari, kalyanakrit. Please understand the word Kalyan Krit. This person does not come to a bad end. This Kalyan Krit person, the person who has seriousness, who has a Shraddha, faith, and who is studying Shastra seriously. Durgatim nagachati. Anyone, Kashchit, who has done good actions, he will do good actions. He will never do bad actions. Charitable action does not gain an undesirable end. At the worst, such a person just proceeds from birth to birth, depending on the accumulated karma that precipitates a new body. There is no way he is going to get a lower form of the body. He is going to attain a better form, a better situation because of his karmas, the karma of doing good. When you have Shraddha for Shastra, the true Shraddha, not a mazak wali Shraddha, true Shraddha for Shastra. If true Shraddha for Shastra is there, then you do right karmas, which will get you a better, higher birth, higher standard. Higher standard means a better situation where you can study Vedanta more seriously, more diligently. Such person proceeds from birth to birth depending upon accumulated karma that precipitates a new body. But once a person makes a step for the sake of moksha, whatever he or she has done before has already paid off. The moment the person turns one attention toward oneself, there is no going back. Generally, a person only goes after anatma, not atma. For example, the physical body being anatma, how to take care of it is also anatma. How to take care of my mind is with the reference to anatma. How to take care of my money, power, family is all with the reference to anatma. How to take care of my failures, meaning my next body, is also regarding anatma. Like this, everyone is interested in taking care of anatma alone and struggles to do so constantly. Don't waste your time in all these thinking about anatmas, taking care of anatmas. No way, because God is going. If you fall into the line of Shastra, if you start studying Shastra seriously, everything else is taken care of. Studying Shastra is dharma, and God looks after dharmi. The one who is studying, who is seriously pursuing knowledge, who is seriously going through Shastra, is looked after by Lord Himself. In fact, the taking care of anatma is only taking care of atma. Taking care is not for the sake of anatma. You do not take care of the body for body's sake. It is for your sake, atma's sake. Therefore, you take care of anatma for the sake of atma, and in process you totally neglect the atma. This indeed is wonder, and we call it Maya. I hope you are getting the point here. The point is, while taking care of your physical form and the liabilities of the physical form, you are actually taking care of Atma. But in that you are forgetting that you are taking care of Atma. You totally neglect Atma. That is the Maya. The moment the person begins to question whether he or she is doing the right thing, Atma is being taken care of. And this does not take place in everyone. To ask, what is this Atma that is so anxious to take care of Anatma, is to question Atma itself, and is for Atma's sake, for one's own sake alone. The one who begins to pay attention to Atma, whether successful or not, has already traced one's way back. To question what is considered to be normal is to discover that the normal is abnormal. Such a person has made a step towards moksha, and therefore one is kalyanakrit. Kalyana means auspicious. Therefore, moksha is kalyana. Marriage is also called kalyana because it marks the end of the brahmacharya stage of life, and the auspicious beginning of the grahastha ashram, which will finally prepare one for moksha. Grahastha ashram prepares you for moksha, the most auspicious. Moksha is the ultimate kalyana, and the marriage is a sadhana, a means for gaining a grand finale called moksha, changing the course of karma. Anyone who has made a step toward moksha is called kalyanikrit. Anyone who has made a step towards moksha is called kalyankrit. Whether the person is a karma yogi or a sannyasi, both of them are kalyankrits alone, because some action has been taken for the sake of moksha. Therefore, progress is assured. Any karma waiting to take the body of a frog, a celestial, or anything else is also subjugated and no longer has any chance to express itself. Once the person is kalyan krit, the entire order, the entire flow changes. Whereas if you simply going along with the flow, then all the accumulated karmas have same chance. But when particular set of karmas exerts more pressure for expression, then it has a greater chance of getting fulfilled. Once you have changed the course, the order has to change. So for the person who has a shraddha, all other karmas have to wait, and the one for pursuing the knowledge proceeds. And how long will the others have to wait? Until the person gains kalyana, moksha. And once moksha is gained, all karmas disappear. They are finished for good. They do not exist at all. Therefore, to question whether one is a karta is no ordinary question. Assuming one is a karta, one performs good and bad actions, but here the very karta is questioned. One asks, am I a karta? This is the question that makes one a kalyanikrit. And having asked it, no one reaches the bad end. Keep on asking yourself, always, are you the doer? Are you really the doer? This will lead for right action, understanding. Krishna addresses Arjuna here as Tat. Tat means son. A name used affectionately for either a father or a son is recognition of the closeness between them. A father is the one who protects himself in the form of his son, and the son being as good as him. Then when the son is happy, the father is happy. When the son grows up nicely, the father feels that he too has grown nicely. If the son is successful, the father also feels successful. So whatever happens to the son happens to the father, in that it is very much affects him. Therefore, there is no distance between the son and the father. For the reason they both are called Tata, called father the Tata. Tata and son is also called Tat. Here, Arjuna is not Krishna's son, but he is a father in the sense that a creator can be called. Creator can be called father. Janak. There is the father who creates a body for you, Deha Janaka, and a father who creates wisdom in you, Vidya Janaka, because the wise person who is a teacher, Acharya, is one who gives you complete rebirth in form of wisdom, is called father. Therefore, the author of the body and the author of the knowledge are called Tat, father. The father, he is a one who gives you knowledge. Right teacher is also the father. The word Tat is used for a son as well as for a disciple, Shishya. Arjuna is not Krishna's son, but he is his Shishya. And a Shishya is like a son, equal to a son. Therefore, Krishna affectionately addresses him here as Tata, telling him that sannyasi who has Shraddha but does not gain the knowledge does not come to an bad end. He does not come to a bad end at all. This is what Krishna sends. What happens to the yoga? Bhrashta. What happens to the person who is Bhrashta? This he answers in verse number, Bhagavan answers in verse number 41 to 44, which we will try and do. Verse number 41 now. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha शुचिनम श्रीमताम गेहे योग भ्रष्ट अभिजायते. Yoga Bhrashta, one who has fallen from, did not succeed in yoga. Punya Kritam, belonging to those who do good action. Lokan, worlds. Prapya, having gained. Shashvata, Samaha, countless years. Ushitva, having lived there. Suchinam, of the people committed to dharma. Shrimatam, of the wealthy and cultured. Gehe, in the home. Abhijayate, is born. What happens to the person who falls? Having gained the worlds belonging to those who do good actions, and having lived there for countless years, the one who did not succeed in yoga is born in the home of the wealthy and cultured people who are committed to dharma. The person is born into the right place, the right situation, where he continues his journey of moksha. He continues his study. See, this is what Bhagavan has said. This is what Gita says. This is what Shastra says. This is not anybody's personal saying. This is Shastra says. Having gained the worlds belonging to those who do good action, and having lived for countless years, the one who did not succeed in yoga is born in the home of the wealthy and cultured people who are committed to dharma. Dharma means who themselves have Shraddha for Shastras, and they also are studying in the line of Shastra, in the line of moksha. This is what Bhagavan says. And what Swamiji explains, how beautifully he does it. Let's study. Both Ihloka and the here and Paraloka, hereafter, are covered in this verse. Punya Kritam Loka refers to the word lokas gained by Punya Kritas, Punya Karma Krits, Punya Karma Krits. Those who have lived a life of dharma, performing good action that produces punya, having gained these words, Prapya Punya Kartam Lokan. How long does this person live in these worlds? Krishna says, for countless number of years. Shashvatam Samaha. That is, he will live there for a very long time. He must be remembered, that person. It must be remembered that the person being discussed here, the same Yog Bhrasht. Yog Bhrasht means the person who has fallen while studying. Mentioned earlier, one whom Arjuna thought would lose both worlds by not having succeeded in the pursuit of yoga, meaning the knowledge that is moksha. In fact, the person is not bhrashta at all, because there is no falling here. As was mentioned before, Krishna uses the word yoga bhrashta here because in Arjuna's mind the person has fallen somehow. He is not yoga bhrashta, he is not bhrashta at all. Therefore, Krishna wants to negate any kind of falling with reference to the person by telling Arjuna that person he thought as Yog Bhrashta is born abhijayate, into surroundings that are conducive to the pursuit of this knowledge. Or let me say, he is born into the family of the great teachers who again teach him, and he again continues his study. He is born into the family of rich. Rich means the people who already who are into the line of knowledge. This person is born into that family where he continues his study. Richness doesn't only means having lot of money, wealth and all. It is there. 100% it must be there. It is there. Riches are there. But the main rich, what richness is here? Wealthy here means the person, the family he is born into is also family with culture of studying Vedanta, studying Shastra. Krishna describes the surroundings with the words Suchinam, Shrimatam Gehe. Suchinam, meaning in the house of a person of wealth and culture, who is also committed to dharma, therefore called Suchi. The person who is born into the family who is also in the line of continuation. The word Shrimat suggests wealth and abundance of comfort and so on. 100% comfort is there because God takes care of physical comfort. The word Suchi, culture, is emphasized here because there can be an abundance of wealth in a home where, for example, a father is a mafia or don. Such a house is not conducive to the pursuit of knowledge. It is more like a prison than a home, with this high spiked walls and sentries posted everywhere. In such circumstances, wealth itself becomes a prison. This kind of wealth is not referred here. The point being made here by the word Suchi is the word Suchinam Gehe implies a family that has value for values, a value for living a life of dharma. Dharma here means the one who is in the line of studying Shastra, who is on the way of moksha. That is the only dharma. Nothing else is dharma. This is the kind of family into which the yoga bhrashta is born. Yoga bhrashta means the one who has fallen, who left his body in between while studying. The one who left his previous form while studying Shastra and unable to reach the goal. Krishna says, in this conducive surrounding, the person will pick up certain values. To be born into such a family is not easy and is to be recognized as a great advantage, since a person can also be born into a place with some handicap or others. To have a father or mother who is an alcoholic is considered to be a wrong start. Being born to a family of values, we are all fortunate to be born into the family where we can continue study. The person is very fortunate. A wrong start, however, does not mean that there is nothing to be gained. Perhaps the person can exhaust something which makes it a good start, since it all's well that ends well. What is to be appreciated here is that to get out of a wrong start is very difficult. Whereas where the start is conducive, then the person's pursuit of moksha can proceed. In the very beginning of his life, he will show the sign of a sannyasi, because he has to fulfill what he has started. The conducive surrounding enables him to live a life of prayer and think constantly of Ishvara. Thinking always of Ishvara, he looks into what Ishvara is, question what the truth of everything is, what the cause of everything is, all of which is thinking of Ishvara. Ishvara Smaranam. Always Ishvara Smaranam at the early age of life. Right in the beginning, from the childhood. From this we can see that there is no such thing as bad lot for the person, either in terms of this life or in the hereafter. When coming back to this life, he picks up the thread and continues, and to facilitate pursuit, his birth will be in a better place, meaning that it will be more conducive for gaining the knowledge. Krishna then mentions another possibility for the person who has not yet gained knowledge. He further, Bhagavan says, अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमात्मा एतद्धि दुर्लभत्रं लोके जन यदि दर्शम. अथवा or धीमतम, a people who are wise, yoginam, of yogis, eva, indeed, kule, into the family, bhavati, is born, yata idarsham janma, a birth such as this, he indeed loke, in this world, etat durlabhatram, is very difficult to gain. This is what Bhagavan says. Or he is indeed born into the family of wise yogis. A birth such as this is indeed very difficult to gain in the world. Bhagavan himself says, the person who falls while pursuing knowledge is born into the family of yogis again. Dharmis. And this kind of family is difficult to gain. We have seen that there is no such thing as bad lot, durgati, for a yogi, a sannyasi who has the desire to know the self. Anyone who has taken a step toward knowing oneself has already initiated a process of unwinding oneself from samsara. One winds oneself in samsara by karma without even questioning whether one is a karta or doer. Then within the samsara, retaining the doership centered on the self, one tries to accomplish various ends. And these ends are accomplished on the basis of the desire for something other than Atma, all of which we have seen earlier, we saw earlier. Here you are questioning the very Swarupa of Atma. You may not know whether you are a Karta, but at least you are questioning. You are inquiring into it. By asking what is Atma, you are not taking whatever Atma is for granted. Generally, people only try to avoid dukkha that results from the limitation and bondage experienced by the karta and the subject without ever questioning the subject itself. Therefore, all their activity is only to bring about something desirable. This kind of life is called sansara. Sansara is disease and no one goes for the cure. Sansara is disease. Let us understand this. But once you pay attention to the very subject and ask, who is this subject? What is this I? And so on, then you have initiated an auspicious desire. Shubhecha. Shubh Ichha, a desire for Atma, Atma Ichha, that has to result in moksha. Thus, Krishna's assurance that there is no way that person will come to a bad end. He also gave Arjuna a little inside information as it were, the one you call Yoga Brashta. Arjun just picks up the thread in his next birth and continues his pursuit of knowledge. The person's prayerful life itself produces certain punyas. And because of that punya, the person gains pleasant stay in the hereafter, followed by rebirth in a situation conducive to his pursuit of knowledge. The idea being conveyed here is that if there is a life after death, the world other than this one, the world will be good for the person. All experiences there will be happy experiences. Therefore, even in the hereafter, there is no such thing as a bad lot for person. And having enjoyed the result of the punya of his prayerful life in the hereafter, he then comes back to this earth with an adhikari sharira, a body that is qualified to gain the knowledge, meaning the person returns as a human being. Swamiji says that person returns as a human being in a better family. And this family we are born today is the best family, where we are able to study Vedanta, where we are able to study Shastra. We are in the best situation, with the best parents, with the best siblings, and above all, the greatest teacher of Vedanta. I tell you, Swamiji is Shankaracharya. He is a Shankaracharya today. There is no way one should waste his life. I should waste my life. This form, this situation, the form is so good. There is no problem with the form. From head to toe, there is no problem. The parents have given such a beautiful education where I can study. There can be no better situation than today. My prayers are always that I must continue my study very seriously. He will not come back in a lower form, but will definitely be born in as human being into a step up that is conducive for his pursuit. Therefore, there is no question of a bad lot anywhere. That means our journey has already started. In the previous lives, we have started our journey. Therefore, we have been given this life where we can continue our journey and, if possible, attain the result of moksha. Any physical body is called yoni, yoni meaning womb, on of which there are three types: Deva yoni, a celestial body; Manushya yoni, a body of a human being; and Adho yoni, the body assumed by lower life beings. Manushya yoni is the incarnation in which physical body, everything enjoying a free will, is assumed, meaning a human body or its equivalent here or here anywhere else. A person need not be born on this particular planet necessarily, but in some set up or other he will be born. A person can be born into the family of yogis. This is what Swamiji explains. Here Krishna describes the set into being into which the person under discussion will be born as the home of a person who is highly cultured and wealthy and at the same time righteous. Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe. There may be wealth, but there will also be culture. And if there is no wealth, there will definitely be lot of culture. The family will also be highly ethical and committed to life of values. In this way, the person does not have a false start, a start that is handicapped in any way, and therefore can easily pick up the thread of his pursuit of knowledge. Very beautifully explained by Swamiji. Or Krishna goes on to say that person can be born into the family of karma yogis, mumukshu. A father can be a cultured person, a religious person, and perhaps a wealthy person without being a karma yogi. Even to be born into such a family gives a person a good chance to gain knowledge. That is moksha. But if the person is born into the house of karma yogi, he has an even better chance, is the point Krishna making here. In this verse, yogis refer to karma yogi since sannyasis do not have families, and these karma yogis are also well informed people. Dhimats, because the word dhimatam is used here, the father can be either jnani or a mumukshu. Thus, the very least he will be is a mumukshu. In either case, from childhood onwards, the person picks up certain values and has no problem taking to his pursuit gains without any hindrance whatsoever. In other words, he will not need to work through problems related to his past and so on, because there is no problem. In his commentary of this verse, Shankara took the family of yogis to mean a family in which there is lack of wealth, and said, Daridranam yoginam kule. But where the father is a yogi, the poor man can also be beggar, and to be born into such a home implies all kind of problems. Whereas here the father is a karma yogi and also well informed person who has no wealth whatsoever. He is a pandita, a brahmana. There is no such a thing as rich brahmana, because to be true brahmana, the person must have no wealth. Therefore, Shankara was actually praising poverty there. To be born as a human being, there has to be have been some punya and papa, the poverty of the person will exhaust all his papas and his punya will be available for yoga. In this way, the person can take up to life of yoga, jnana, without any let or hindrance. This is why Shankaracharya ji said that it is better to be born into the family of Karma Yogi who may not be rich than to be born into the rich family that has lot of culture. Riches have a way of getting into your head and creating certain complexes. That becomes a problem. Poverty can also create complexes, it is true, but inferiority complex and superiority complex are problems that have to be dealt with. However, if you are born into a family where there may not be riches, but where the parents are yogi, there is no problem. Because they are yogi, the value structure is sound, and the person does not have a complex that I am poor. Even though there is no money, he does not think of himself as poor person. Indeed, he thinks of himself as blessed person to have the parentage where both the parent feel blessed to be what they are, even though they have no money, is the right percentage. The point being made here is that there is money, that is fine. But if there is no money, it is better, provided, of course, the parentage is proper. Here, Bhagwan is, Swamiji is trying to tell that parents, the father, the mother, should be in line of Shastra. Why two different kind of families? Why does Krishna mention two different kind of families in these two verses? Should not every yoga brashta be born into the same kind of family? No, the family one is born into depends upon the person's karma, where they are accrued punyas and papas. Everyone's punya and papas differ. These punyas and papa determine whether the person is born, who his parents are, whether there is money or no money, and so on. Wherever the person is born, however, he retains his yoga sanskara, those impressions, tendencies that he had gathered before. In other words, he comes along with his previous impression in the form of potential tendency, which often manifest very early in life. A baby who cries all the time may become a musician, and the child who destroys everything in sight may become a civil engineer. Let's see. These tendencies are what is called sanskara, and they manifest in your life without your cultivating them. This is why two children who are born at the same parents are so different. One child has certain tendency and the other child has other tendency. The child goes for music and the other goes for art because of their sanskara. These sanskaras are what is meant by prarabdha karma, the karma that results in certain body being born into given situation and having a particular set of experiences. The sanskaras have to manifest themselves, and they do so through certain professions, etc. Yoga sanskaras are the same. They will be there in the psyche of the child, whether he is born into cultured family committed to dharma or into the family of a karma yogi. Therefore, criterion is not to be born into particular kind of family. This does not come into the picture at all, and there is no necessity for it. Wherever the person is born is fine, because one is born with yoga sanskaras. Certain opportunities are necessary so that yoga sanskara that manifest will not be overwhelmed by the adharma sanskara, which is also possible. Because wrong tendency can be gathered as a child. These can overpower the yoga sanskara you had previously gathered. In order for yoga sanskara to manifest naturally in form of serious pursuit of knowledge on the part of the person who was previously a yogi, the born again yogi should not be overpowered by life of adharma, wrong values, false values, and so on. Therefore, it is important for this person to have proper setup to pick up the thread and continue from where he left. A seeker can be born anywhere. These two verses do not imply that everyone who takes to this pursuit has to be born in one of these two places, either in rich, cultured family or in the family of Karma Yoga. That is not the point here. The point is that those who desire self-knowledge are born everywhere. But we are not talking about all seekers here. We are talking specially about people who were sannyasis or seekers before and did not accomplish what they had set out to accomplish before they passed away. These are the people whom Arjuna thought has fallen people, because they seem to have lost both worlds, the world of samsara here means pleasure, and the worlds produced by performing karma, and they did not gain the yoga, the vision of sameness. Therefore, in response to Arjuna's concern, Krishna tells him here that they are born in a set where there is no obstacle to their pursuit of knowledge. The yoga sanskara will always be there. Once the person directs, the yoga sanskara will always be there. Once the person directs him or her attention there, the yoga sanskara never dies. But it can be overpowered by adharma. And even if it is overpowered by adharma, provided the person realizes it, realize it, the adharma can be exhausted, purified by living prayerfully. In this way, whatever adharma sanskara, and they are all exhausted, one is rid of them for good. Then the yoga sanskara comes up again and the person continues. To pick up this thread without any obstacle whatsoever, the person has to be born into certain environment. For example, an environment where the father is seriously studying Vedanta Shastra and the mother is always talking about it is a wonderful start indeed. As a child, I used to hear such talk constantly. For instance, I asked my mother for something before going to bed. She would never say, I will give it to you tomorrow. Instead, she would say, if you get up tomorrow, then I will give it to you. This is wonderful thing. If you get up means if you survive. And my mother was not the only person saying this. Every mother in India did the same thing. It is the culture. There is no promise, only the attitude. If we survive, we shall see. This means that from childhood onwards, we accept the fact that you do not have complete control over things. Control is a problem. Because you want to control, all the problems come. Whereas if you accept that there can be many a slip between a cup and the lip, that there are things that you have no control over. Then there is an attitude towards life that is very healthy. You can do what you can and you are ready to take what comes. To have this attitude from childhood is a very good start. Whatever other problems there may be, if everything else is so conducive, if there is education, values and communication, it is very wonderful start indeed. Such a start is what Krishna is referring to it in these two verses. First, he says that to be born into the highly cultured and ethical family of a rich man is great. And then he says that there is another birth that is even greater, more rare, more difficult to accomplish, a birth enjoying the percentage of well-informed karma yogis. Well-informed yogis are those who knows they are yogis, which means they are mumukshus. They know they are seeking knowledge, that they have gained knowledge to gain moksha. To be born to parents of such wisdom, to have birth of this nature, yata idarsham janma, is very difficult to gain in this world. Ita hi durlabha taram loke. Krishna here says, definitely more difficult than being born in rich man's family, which is also difficult. Having gained the percentage of yogi, however, the situation is much better, much more conducive than other, there being absolutely nothing to stop the person from pursuing yoga further. The saying that rich man can pass through the gates of heaven as easily as camel can pass through the eyes of a needle is not directed at the riches themselves. However, along with the riches, there is usually an ego. Therefore, there is no humility. A rich man thinks he can buy anything, accomplish anything. This is the problem. The riches themselves are not the problem. Further, Krishna says in verse number 46, which we will see, 43, which we will see tomorrow. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishnaya Govindaya.